I didn't enjoy the second trip to Peppa Pig World as much as the first. Why? A series of reasons. I'll run you through these in a quick list. You decide what would have stressed you out the most. It was a lot more crowded the second time around. Much bigger queues. We couldn't go on a lot of our daughter's favourite, and to be fair, my favourite rides from the first time around. Our daughter not really old enough to understand this. She'd see a ride that she remembered and get excited, and we'd see the queue and have to say, not this time, and she'd get upset. It was much hotter as well. We hadn't prepared adequately for that. We hadn't brought enough water. Kept running out of water halfway through quite a long queue, and then do you abandon your place in the queue to go and get more water, or do you stay in the queue getting thirstier? My ex had recently started seeing someone else. We hadn't brought enough sun cream. There was loads of stuff going on. You decide what would mean the biggest bee in your bonnet. The lack of Factor 50, or the looming spectre of Dan. Who wasn't there, I should say, but he was, by this point, putting in a pretty strong application for a part in Peppa Pig World 3. This time it's definitely not personal. Again, none of this is meant to be uncomfortable or embittered. He's a lovely man. He works in customer experience. As the previous customer, I wasn't hugely enjoying the experience, but this is the life we've chosen for ourselves. And the following week, we met, actually. We went for a pint. We went for a pint to discuss our increasing overlap in each other's lives and how mature and respectful we wanted to be about that. And I don't mind telling you, that's a pretty adult moment in your life, actually. Discussing step-parental boundaries over Heineken Zeros with the new guy in town. You can't help but catch a glimpse of yourself in the pub mirror and think, ha, we're not at V Festival anymore, my boy. This isn't very I Go by Toyota sponsors T4. But of course, I've had the same opportunities myself. I've been able to go on dates, especially since the end of the lockdowns. And that's undeniably intriguing, especially as I was in a long-term relationship for most of my 20s. And before then, just an incel, really. So this is all pretty novel. And I must stress, a happy-go-lucky, late noughties proto-incel, before the term got such a bad name. Keeping myself to myself, working hard at school, trying to stay on top of my spots, listening to Muse, all of your classic incel gear. I'm so nostalgic for the past, I can somehow still sort of idealise the two-dimensional incel existence as a simpler and happier time. Much easier to have spots and adult emotional responsibilities. I could do with some more spots. Mainly because I've still got half a tube of Clearasil from 2011 that I've simply got to see out. But of course, it's also exciting doing it in one's 30s, a little bit more life experience. Also, the romantic arena now, much more restaurant-based. That's my scene. In my early 20s, more of a nightclub-based affair. Don't get me wrong, I love nightclubs. It's where I do my best puzzling. But as a place to meet and approach. Now, restaurants. That's my scene. I am dog shit in Tiger Tiger, but I run the game in Franco Manca. I'm a superb dinner party guest. I've been told that ever since I was a young boy. Admittedly, by the adult friends of my parents that I was staying up late to try and impress. But guess who I'm going out with now? Adults. It's probably not the sentence you want and taken out of context from the show. Also, I think a little can go a long way. If you'll forgive a quick boast. I was referred to as suave on a date a few months ago. Here's what I'd done to earn what I would consider to be the pretty top-tier compliment of suave. I booked a table for dinner, and as we neared the end of dinner, I revealed to the person in question that if they wanted the evening to continue, I'd already provisionally booked a table at a cocktail bar just over the road from the restaurant. She said, wow, you've already booked the next place. That's pretty suave. I didn't want to throw it back in her face and go, yeah, if by suave you mean basic admin, then sure, Captain Suave's in town. I took about a minute out of my afternoon to identify and assess 2 adjacent locations. Just a little trick I've retained from my days in the Queen's Cavalry. Something to set me apart from the rest of the shit munchers bashing their way through the yellow pages with their non-opposable thumbs. The same person said I was a nice person to go on a date with because I ask a lot of questions. She said, it's nice that you ask questions. I said, what? Inadvertently playing further into her hands. She said, oh, it's just that the last person I went on a date with didn't ask any questions. Just talked about himself the whole time. I wanted to meet this guy, thank him for making me look good by comparison, but also urge him to read the literally one article I've ever read about going on a date. The question thing comes up really high. I'm the most self-absorbed man I know. I can still work out that lobbing out the odd question here and there is still going to ultimately benefit Project Me. Tell me about your brothers and sisters, and then I'll tell you about my go-karting medals.